Well, look, going into our next conversation, we're having conversations, obviously, as an industry about sustainability. So AVIXA decided to do something about it and launched an AVIXA Task Force dedicated to that. Joining us now are two of those members. We got Dave Silberstein and Kristin Bidwell. Thanks so much for joining us on the show this morning.
Absolutely.
Sure, thanks for having us.
Well, Kristin, we'll go ahead and kick it off with you. Obviously, a task force for AVIXA means that it's important to our community. Talk about the origins specifically in this sustainability group.
Sure. So right now, the task force is kind of tasked with creating a proposal for AVIXA to show why we need a committee for sustainability in the AV industry. So we've been working on looking at best practices, looking at what manufacturers are doing, what they're not doing. We've been researching other industries. We've been looking at research from the UN. Obviously, I think a lot of people know that Europe is much further ahead than we are in this. So it's great because we don't have to recreate the wheel. The information's there, so we need to put that together. But this is the first step for AVIXA to be able to create the committee and to take those further steps towards sustainability.
And so what are the next steps, do you think, in this process of achieving the goals that is set forth for this task group?
Sure. I think really defining what's most important in this industry. When you talk about sustainability, there's so much that you can grab from, and we found that day one in our committee. We were just, everyone had other different ideas on what we can do in sustainability, and so we took a poll. What are the most important topics? What do we really need to focus on right now? And so we're really trying to figure out that path to provide the committee with, hey, these are the most important issues in the industry. These are some low-hanging fruits that are easy to attain. These are not so easy to obtain, but what a lot of manufacturers are doing. And so we want to provide that information for the committee to move forward. Hopefully at some point, we can help with, at least I would like to see the AV industry contribute to lead points, stuff like that, that's actually quantifiable.
Well, Dave, what's interesting, too, we talk about sustainability. A lot of times that skews more towards the green, energy-efficient conversation. But one of the conversations that I've heard throughout the last couple months is extending a product life cycle, right? Whether that's through active replacement, whether that's just flat out making technology last for a longer time, right? What are some of those maybe non-traditional things that you've heard, especially coming out of the ideas for long-term sustainability?
Sure. So there are many ways to look at sustainability, not only things like long-term operation, but then if we are going to turn something over, a lot of people turn over their rooms every 5 years. I totally understand that. Everybody wants the latest technology. When you turn that room over, what do you do with that technology? Do you throw it in the garbage? Do you give it to somebody else? Do you give it to a school where somebody can learn about AV and come back into this industry ultimately by the time you're done? So if you really look at what you're doing with that technology when you're giving it up, it can be powerful and used in another way.
And so are there any examples of some sustainability wins, you would say, within our industry that we can share? Absolutely.
So within the Sustainability Task Force, we've actually broken ourselves into 3 separate groups. We have a group focused on standards and regulations, because that's what's out there, that's what we're going to have to adhere to. We have a group that's focused on best practices, and then we have a group that's focused on communication, because communication and getting the word out is very important to everything we're doing. So when I look at best practices, not only do I look at manufacturers that have best practices that are working on things, but individuals that have created things. So I look at something like the milliwatt program, where they are focused on turn the amplifier off when the system turns down. And the very small things that ultimately can generate large savings by the time we're done. Or I look at somebody like AV Gives Back, who's focused on taking old equipment and recycling it to other organizations that need it somewhere else.
And Kristin, one of the things too that we see is different communities play different roles in sustainability, right? Manufacturers, that's a little bit more on the product design side. Obviously your integrators, installers, you're looking at your reuse and maybe recycling. But your end users play a role in that, as you mentioned, Dave. What are some of the ways that end users specifically can help contribute to sustainability?
I think understanding that AV does play a huge role. I think that's the first thing. So professionally, I'm a consultant, so I do designs. And we talk to clients day one during schematic design to let them know that that AV equipment can actually help them in their sustainability goals. Because it's not really a conversation that's being had in the forefront. I know that a lot of consultants are starting to look at that or starting to talk to clients about it, but since there's no, hey, this can give you 10 lead points or whatever, it's not clear cut. But we are looking at specifying equipment that is recyclable, that does have lower energy efficiencies, and that helps them kind of understand what they can do. You know, hey, when that video wall dies in 5 years, what are you going to do with it? You know, or how much energy is that taking up in your lobby right now? Let's talk about some solutions that help you along the way.
Well, I want to follow up on that too. You mentioned lead points, right? When you start talking about lead points, that brings in the facilities management side of the house as well.
Sure.
How important is the collaboration between the technology team and that facility management team, especially in sustainability?
I think since it's not quantifiable, it's really hard to have that concrete conversation on this is how we're helping you, because LEED's been around forever, right?
Sure.
And there's multiple certifications you can get, not just LEED. LEED's just a word everyone knows. And architects have been using it forever. So I think we need to start having those conversations up front more and more to help reach their goals.
And so what gives you hope for a more sustainable future for AV? You know, everyone's talking about it, but what really gives you hope for this?
Sure. So actually yesterday we did, just for an example, yesterday the Sustainability Task Force took manufacturers around, took clients around, took consultants around the show floor. And we had a mapped out plan on some manufacturers that are contributing to sustainability and what they're doing. And seeing so many manufacturers actually taking that step and creating sustainable products. They've swapped out single-use plastics. They're, one manufacturer I saw is making their own cardboard boxes in-house with less ink, and everything is recyclable. So seeing so many manufacturers already taking that step gives me a lot of hope. You know, yesterday someone even asked me if sustainability was a buzzword, and I've had several people ask that, and it's a good question, and it's not. It's definitely here to stay. It's where the industry is moving, and I think it's not only marketable for manufacturers, but it will get you more clients. It will increase profits for you. So it's a win-win. But yeah, just seeing everyone already involved in sustainability really gives me hope that the industry is moving in the right direction.
And what about you, Dave?
So the thing about sustainability is, I guess I'm old, so as a little kid, you saw the Indian crying because you threw and said, don't litter, right? Today, we have laws and regulations, and sustainability is one of those things that's going to be more regulated. As an industry, we want to be in front of that so that when the regulations arrive, we don't have to respond and react to them. We're already in a position where we're doing everything we need to do. So the important part of everything is we have to make sure that we're looking at sustainability not only from a regulation point of view, but an advanced point of view, so that we're ahead of that curve. And it's not hard. It's very easy to do. Everything from, I'm going to take the cardboard boxes and recycle them rather than throw them in the trash, right? To I'm going to turn the amplifier off or the other pieces that go with it. It's pretty simple. We just need to focus a little bit on it, and we'll be successful. And what we want to do is we want to be ahead of the regulations that are going to come at it.
Well, Kristin,
we all know it's coming.
Exactly.
Kristin and Dave, this is a conversation that we're going to continue to have over the years, right? It's not a simple fix. So we appreciate you coming on and really helping set the stage for a lot of our audience. And thank you so much for joining us on AVIXA TV.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.